Welcome in, everybody, to March Madness 2023. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and today the madness begins. That's right. It's Bracket Sunday. It's all here. It's all happening, and we've got it for you. We're going to break this down. This is a joint broadcast here on our Betting Pros and FantasyPros.com networks here, and we have the perfect guest to help us break down the brackets, give you the best look at the 2023 college basketball championships to come and what is going to unfold. He is the one, the only James Young, my colleague over at SportsGrid. He is the lead basketball analyst there. James is a former college basketball coach with over 20 years of coaching experience at the high school level, the club level, the collegiate levels. So if you're going to talk basketball, you're going to talk March Madness here, you're going to talk to somebody who's actually been through the wars and knows a thing or two about it. And James, I know you're a busy man. You've been on all over the place all day long. This has got to be like Christmas for you, right?
I mean, Joey P, first things first, brother. Finally, great to do a show with you. I'm excited to do this. And yes, this is crazy hour where, you know, we have tournament selection, and this is the best time of year. This is what, as a coach, you want to wait for, is for this moment. And hopefully I'm going to give people a little bit of a different take with my coaching background. I kind of see things, Joe, a little bit differently than most. So hopefully between the combination of the gambling aspect and my coaching background, we can find a way to help you make some money.
I absolutely love it. I tell you, this is the insider show here. This is why I wanted you here on this. And by the way, speaking of inside stuff we got going on, we've got a phenomenal contest I want all of you to go and register for. The March Madness bracket contest at Betting Pros is up and running, and it's free. I know you'll love free stuff, everybody. So go enter at bettingpros.com/contest, or just download the Betting Pros app. Everybody downloads the app anyway. It's the way to go. So go download that Betting Pros app. First place here for our bracket contest gets a lifetime, let me repeat, a lifetime premium subscription to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. That's right, both of them. Oh, and you also get an autographed Giannis jersey too. So a lifetime subscription to BP, to FP, and a Giannis jersey for the winner of our bracket contest here at Betting Pros. And from 2nd through 10th place, you get a 1-year premium subscription to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. So all you got to do, again, download the Betting Pros app to win your brackets this year. Free bracket optimizer is available at BP to create your bracket in seconds. You can craft your bracket by filtering the most top-line accurate bracket experts, or you can use the trusted rating sources like KenPom. Join a group with your friends, with your enemies, your colleagues, your family, whatever you want to do. March Madness betting picks are here, and throughout the tournament, you can even track all of what you're doing and how it's going for you, but you can only do it at bettingpros.com/contest. Again, that link to join this free contest for a chance to win that Giannis jersey and a lifetime sub to BP and FP, bettingpros.com/contest, or just download the Betting Pros app and check it out. Let's check out the South region here. Let's start here. Alabama, the one of ones right now, James. They are on the board at plus 200 to come out of this bracket. Arizona plus 440, Baylor plus 550. Then you got Creighton and Virginia after that. In your opinion, what do you see here in the South region? Who comes out of this region where you're going to put your money?
Joey P, out of all the brackets, this is the madness of madness. Because you got, if you look at this bracket with Alabama as the 1 seed, Arizona as the 2, like you said, Baylor as a 3, Virginia as a 4. A lot of upsets, and that's where I want to begin. One upset I love right off the bat, 5-12, Charleston versus San Diego State. Charleston 31-3. I think they would have got in even if they didn't win the CAA tournament. Outstanding team, has 3 losses all year. Why don't they have the quad 1 wins, folks? Because no one wants to play them. That's why they don't have the quad 1 wins. And I thought they could have been a little bit underseeded over a San Diego State team that's been up and down all year. When you go down the line, I love Alabama. Maryland versus Virginia is going to be an absolute rock fight. If you want to look at it, that's the under you may want to look at. Love West Virginia there. Baylor, Missouri, Arizona move through. When I get to the next round of 32, I do think it's Bama and Virginia coming through. And I forgot this, Creighton. I'm a big believer in Creighton, folks. I think if Kalkbrenner is playing the way he's capable of at the 7-1 center position, with Shireman, with Numrod, with Kamala, with those shooters around him, they are a dangerous team. Remember, folks, they had a 6-game losing streak during the season. Early in the year, Kalkbrenner missed 3 games. So actually coming out of the South, I have Alabama beating Creighton in the Elite 8 to punch their tickets to Houston.
Oh, okay. So Alabama again, plus 200 right now in the consensus line. Creighton at plus 750. So fascinating takes on that one here. And you think Creighton is that one that could really, can anybody really challenge Bama? Or you really think that Bama at the end of the day, this is an easy 1-1 for them and they're going to get to that Final Four? Is that where you're going for there?
I think it's going to be a dogfight. And I can easily say that Creighton's that can actually win it. If you look at it, the way the Creighton bracket lines up, obviously they go through NC State, which would be a tough game. I think Baylor is tremendously overrated, and they're all over the place. I think it's a bad matchup, especially with Cal Brenner at the center position. Then they probably go on to play Arizona. I like the scoring acumen and the shooting of Creighton over Arizona, because sometimes Arizona struggles offensively. That gets them to the Elite Eight. On the top side of the bracket, Bama rolls through. West Virginia will be an interesting game. The issue with Alabama is going to be the Brandon Miller stuff. Like, as this gets closer and closer to the Final Four, does it start to become too much for this kid and this team? He's a fantastic player, didn't shoot the ball well against Texas A&M early, but got going late, so had over 20 points, dynamic score. If you see his three-point prop, 3+ threes, he usually can hit it. So take a look at that. And I think when they play Virginia in the Sweet 16, I'll be honest with you, Joey P., Virginia, if you watch them on Saturday night last night against Duke, they struggled mightily to make shots. I think that's their recipe for disaster. That's how I have Alabama going through. But it will not be easy against Creighton. And I wouldn't be shocked if Creighton actually won the game. So if you want to take both of them at 200 and plus 750, obviously you're going to make out even money, maybe put a little bit more units on a team like Alabama over Creighton. But I will not be surprised, Joe, if Creighton makes it to Houston.
And Baylor overrated. You heard it here from James Young himself. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow this good man over on the Twitter machine as well at Coach Young NJ. That's the place to go follow him. Also, don't forget, we've got the Betting Pros podcast and the Daily Juice podcast available for you guys. We got a top 10 bets video coming out sometime earlier this coming week here on the March Madness bets. And Matt Peralt's going to take you through every single game in this tournament with the Daily Juice. So if you haven't already, subscribe to those pods. James, let's go to the East here. Purdue at the top, plus 300. Then Marquette, plus 420. You've got Tennessee at plus 5, Kentucky at plus 850, and Kansas State at plus 9. Those are the top to come out of the East. Do you think, again, this is an easy ride? Because you're looking at the line here. It says Purdue is up at the very top, but Marquette not that far behind at plus 420. This one a bit tighter than the last region we broke through. So in your opinion, who comes out of the East and who is dangerous?
Well, I'm going to put the team that's dangerous along with the team that I think is going to win the East. Buckle up. Kentucky. Ooh. I think they've been playing really well as of late. Listen, 2 of the 3 losses they had as of late have been to Vanderbilt. Lord have mercy. Thank you, Vanderbilt is not in the tournament. Otherwise, I would have been going against Kentucky off the bat. But the play of Oscar Tshiebwe has been fantastic, Joe. But it's been the play of the ancillary parts, Toppins, the Reeves, the Wheelers. Like these kids are playing well. Cal's kids are playing better as of late. And I think this is a team that can make a deep run and actually make it to the Final Four, which means they'll have to go through Kansas State, Marquette, in an absolute war in the Sweet 16. But in the top, I've never been a Purdue backer, to say the least. I think this team's overrated. I think Zach Edey's been absolutely fantastic. I will not knock him. But if you move him off the block and you move him about more than about 6-7 feet from the basket, his only move really is what we call a jump hook over the left shoulder, turn of left shoulder, right-handed jump hook. If he's pushed out a little bit too far, he has trouble making that shot. I think there's a chance, a good chance, that Purdue gets knocked out in the second round. They will be the first one to be eliminated. And I like Memphis. I like what I've seen out of them. You could have argued they could have beat Houston with Sasser at Memphis at the end of the year, lost by 2 on a buzzer beater by Jamal Shedd. They just beat Houston today without Marcus Sasser by 10. They were up big early in that game. Penny Hardaway's evolving as a coach. I think they can pick off Purdue in the round of 32. And if Purdue gets by them, I think, and I can't play say because I can't stand this program, Duke Duke has looked really good with Filipowski. He's got 20-plus points in 3 of his last 4 games, double-double in 4 of his last 5, playing outstanding basketball for Duke. John Shire's starting to figure it out, folks. So I actually have Kentucky beating Duke at Madison Square Garden for a chance to go to the Final Four. Let me tell you something. If the 2 Blue Bloods get to MSG, I swear MSG will be ready to blow the roof off if those 2 teams meet in the Elite 8.
In my hometown, in my building, MSG, it sounds like the East is a little bit more like the Wild Wild West. So
Yes.
Keep a very close eye on Memphis. Keep a close eye on Duke, the 5 seed there. And if you're looking for Kentucky, as James is, plus 850, you're getting right there for them to win this region. That is fantastic. So let's move on to the Midwest division here, James, and we continue to move through the program. Midwest division, Houston, big time favorite, obviously, plus 135 to come out of this. A lot of people thought Houston would be the 1-1. Instead, that went to Alabama. So Houston got the second of the 1 seeds. Texas at plus 450, then Xavier at plus 900, Texas A&M plus 1,000, and plus 1,100 for Indiana. So Houston is the heavy favorite here. So 2 questions. Number 1, is anybody going to beat Houston? And if they're not, is anybody going to challenge in this bracket and really surprise?
Well, to me, it's going to be really depending on the news of Marcus Sasser, their star guard scoring 17 points a game. Remember, folks, I thought for Houston could have won a national championship last year. Remember, he lost 48-44 to Villanova in the Elite 8 without Marcus Sasser. If they had Sasser last year, they win the national championship. That kind of goes for this year. So I think this is one where I'm going to give you 2 teams that could end up going to Houston, and it's all going to depend on Marcus Sasser's health. And who are the 2 teams? You got it, folks. Both from the great state of Texas. Houston comes out of the top half after going through their first-round opponent, Auburn, Miami. Look out for Miami, folks. They are sneaky good. I think they can get by. Big upset I have off the jump. Kent State beating Indiana. I think Kent State has great guard play. I get concerned about Indiana because if they don't get Hood-Schifino shooting the ball well, it's too much of reliance on Trace Jackson Davis. So I do like, out of the top half, Houston coming out playing Miami in the Sweet 16. Bottom half of the draw, it's pretty chalk all the way through. I have been enamored and I've loved the job that Rodney Terry has done at Texas. I don't know why they haven't given this man the job. Give it to him already. And look what he's done to Kansas, Joe, the last week and a half, knocking them off twice by combined over 30 points. So those aren't close wins, Joe. Those are absolute beatdowns. I think it's Houston versus Texas in the Elite 8. And here's what I'll say to you. If Sasser is healthy, it's Houston. If Sasser is not healthy, it's Texas. I think either way, it's going to be a phenomenal matchup. 2 in-state rivals going at each other for a chance to play the Final Four in Houston.
Now, this is fascinating because if it's not Houston, again, the Houston number is plus 120, but the Texas number much more appealing at plus 450. So depending on that health of Sasser, make your bets accordingly, or maybe put some money on Houston first here. On the other side, on Texas first before any news comes out, because if that news comes out, perhaps that line changes. So let's just be ahead of the game here, be ahead of the game on Texas, and then see what happens. And look, if you really love Houston, maybe you wait a little bit, because if he's not healthy or there's more speculation, perhaps this number does change over the next few days too. He might get a better number than the plus 120. So monitor this Midwest region if you are wagering on it very closely, or as if you're just playing any bracket challenges anywhere, whatever you're doing there, pay close attention to it. Let's get to the last one here we have on the board, and then we'll get to our big winner potentially. Let's talk about the West region. Kansas doesn't feel like they're getting enough respect. They are the 1 seed, but still maybe not enough respect for the champs. We'll see. Plus 320 for them. UCLA at plus 350, real close here. Gonzaga at plus 400, then Connecticut plus 550, TCU at plus 9 as the long shot to come out of the West. So how do you see this bracket breaking down here? Is it Kansas with a chip on their shoulder, not getting enough respect? Is it UCLA, or is it somebody else coming out of this region to really shock and awe everyone?
It's someone else. And here's my concern. My concern with Kansas, and they showed it last night, is when Wilson is the only one that's scoring, they don't have enough scoring power to win. You got to look at Grady Dick shot 3 for 11. McCullers was hurt. Harris wasn't great. So you look at a team like Kansas, they're very top-heavy in regards to the fact that they rely on Jalen Wilson to the majority of his scoring and led the Big 12 and both scoring and rebounding this year. Phenomenal player. Need more consistency, especially out of a player like Grady Dick. UCLA, I'm concerned about the injury bug with them. Clark is out. Their big is hurt. We don't know the status of them. Clark's their best defender. This is where it gets really crazy with me. The team I have coming out of the West are the UConn Huskies. UConn early in this year were undefeated. Joe, they were playing as good as anybody in the country. They tailing off, and the play of particularly Hawkins and Caravan has been fantastic. Hawkins was the leading scorer for UConn in Big East play. Kind of takes the load off of Sonogo, the big center inside. And then you got a guy like Jackson, who is a dynamic defender. I think he's the type of guard, or forward, I should say, that could give Jalen Wilson fits. If he can't score, they're in trouble. I like Kansas to upset. Kansas get upset by UConn in the Sweet 16. Bottom half of the draw, I'm a big believer in TCU. Mike Miles and what he's done this year as a guard, and Jamie Dixon, Joe, is someone that's from this area like I am, New York, New Jersey area, knows what Jamie Dixon did at Pittsburgh for a long time in the Big East, has done a fantastic job at TCU. Until they stumbled down the stretch, you could have argued he could have been in the running for National Coach of the Year. I like UConn to beat TCU in the Elite Eight and punch their ticket. TCU goes through Arizona State in the playing game, then knock off Gonzaga, knock off UCLA. UConn, a better team. UConn makes the Final Four.
Connecticut plus 550 on there too. So, wow, great stuff there, James. All right, let's get to the big dance, because we've talked a lot about some of these teams in the regions already. Houston, again, the favorite, plus 500. Alabama, plus 800. Kansas, you're already kind of off them. They're plus 1,000. Some of the teams that you like, though, that are in this mix: Texas, plus 1,900. UConn, plus 2,400 right now to win it all. You've got Duke at plus 3,100. Creighton at plus 3,400, along with TCU, plus 3,400. There are some huge potential scores here. So how do you spread the units around? How do you look here in terms of the Final Four, the winner? Where are you putting your chips into the middle?
Well, I would say this. If Sasser is healthy, they're going to win it. Okay, I really do believe they're the best team in the country. So you're going to put a unit right there. But then I'm going to back it up by putting the same amount, a little bit more on Texas, because I think if Texas, I do have winning the national championship if Sasser is not healthy. So I have Texas winning it all. So that's where you know where I'm coming from there. But with me taking so many teams that have such value, you could put a half a unit on a UConn or on a Kentucky or on a TCU. You don't have to put a big number out there, because at the odds, and remember, folks, Texas is at 19-1. Their number has been falling in the last 48 hours after beating Kansas and the way they've done it. So Texas is at 19-1, like Joe kind of talked about. If you wait too long with Texas and Sasser's out, you're going to see not only their Final Four numbers, but their championship numbers drop even more. Maybe they go somewhere from 19-1 to 15-1. So this may be an opportunity that you want to get on the Longhorns now. So I have Texas beating UConn, and I have Alabama beating Kentucky, and I have Bama versus Texas in the national championship game. I love Rice and Carr, the guard play of Texas, and I think Rodney Terry has done as good of a job as anybody in the country. The Texas Longhorns, with a crazy season after Chris Spears gets let go, the coach leaves, they win the national championship. Kind of like when a team called Michigan got a guy named Steve Fisher went as an interim and won the national championship.
Good. That was a Wayback Machine right there for me. Plus 1,900 on Texas, plus 800 on Alabama. Again, as James said, Houston is a favorite if you want to put some money there as well. But some great stuff there with the Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em horns, baby. Plus 1,900 on the board. James, you are the hardest working man in show business all the time, but especially tonight. And I just want to say personally, thank you for making time for us here at Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros to go ahead and chat with us and give us your insight. You are criminally under-followed on the Twitter machine. Run, everyone, at Coach Young NJ. My NJ dude, we're going to have to go get some lunch together now that we're both in the same state. Again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight. And again, don't forget, download the Betting Pros app, enter our contest. It's free, bettingpros.com/contest. The winner gets a lifetime premium subscription to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros. What do you have to lose? Nothing, because it's free. And you also get a signed Giannis jersey. And we're giving away 9 other prizes to 1-year subscription to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros, the premium version. Download the app today. Go to bettingpros.com/contest to get involved. And again, go follow my good friend James Young and check him out on SportsGrid. He's talking basketball all the time. So phenomenal. I'm so grateful. We finally got to go and do a show together. You and I, we're always trading guest spots, trading on different shows. I always see you. It's great to just spend some quality time. I hope all of your bets cash, my friend. And I hope to talk to you again very soon. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For James Young, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.